Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, know your nation, know yourself. Now, first of all, I'm going back, try to use my microphone again. So do let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I just want to make sure that the sound is okay. And I think my mobile phone. Typical, isn't it? I don't know where I've left my mobile phone. Sorry, guys. There might be some little kind of pinging stuff going. It might ping and make noise. So you're saying yes. People saying yes. All good. Excellent. Because I've been wanting to get through back to this microphone because it means I don't have to raise my voice so much when I'm speaking. Anyway, right. Well, guys, where to begin? Huh? Where to begin? This is just I don't even know where to begin. This is just madness, isn't it? This is cast iron, absolute bonkers. This is insane. This is insane. So why is this happening? You guys will remember me saying, as you know, I've been saying it, and it's particularly with my Friday audience. So thank you so much for everyone who's joining me here. You guys know I've been saying for a long time now, I said, look, America is about to enter its Rahu Ketu Dasha. Yeah, Rahu Ketu Dasha. And I said, this is can happen at a time in a nation and in a person's life when they're going through the Rahu Dasha, when the car can really go off the road, yeah, completely off the road. I also mentioned to people that the energy starts about 3 months out. Yeah, as the dasher, as the drivers change, as it were. You know, remember I was showing you guys. So if we look here, for those who haven't seen yet, remember my illustration, from one of my books, which is called The Candid Guide to Neo-Vedic Astrology. This is a photocopy of one of those illustrations. In here, this is the dasher sequence. Years go across this way, and here are the drivers, or the cars. Now, depending on when you're born or when a nation is created, and depending which moon which nakshatra the moon is in, decides which car you go into first. Too long to explain the details on that, but that's basically how it works. And then each car journey goes for a certain amount of time. Yeah. So you see here, K2's journey 7 years, and then Venus is the longest, 20 years, etc. Anyway, when we look here, we've got Rahu. Yeah, and I want you to look closely. Rahu is the only one that I've illustrated with a driver in there. Let me just see if it's going to focus. Come on, there we go. You see, with Rahu, I've given him a rally car. Yeah. Why have I given Rahu a rally car? Because rally cars are wild rides. The shadow of Rahu. Now, Rahu Ketu can be wonderful. Yeah, so I don't want everyone, because they get a very bad rap in Vedic astrology. But why am I going to such lengths to keep explaining this over and over and over? Because I'm trying to help everyone understand why this is so intense, why this is so bonkers and completely batshit right now. In India, traditionally, the Saturn Dasha is the most feared. Now, Saturn Dasha does come with a lot of work, but you can also get a lot done in a Saturn Dasha. The Rahu Dasha, however, is very unpredictable. It can also be a time when you have a lot of charlatans that show up in your life. The shadow of Rahu is liars, cheats, scurrilous people, dishonesty, shortcuts, scams, all of those things. And the Rahu Dasha started for America in September of 2015. And a few months before that actually kicked in, a certain someone came down the escalator. You remember? Yeah. A few months before. So the dasha unfolds. Rahu dasha, it is an 18-year dasha. It doesn't mean it's all going to be completely this bonkers for however long is left. But it's important to understand this is a time and this is a dasha where things go very, very weird and bonkers. And I'm sure we can all agree that since Duck Larange came down that escalator, things have never been the same again. And then what happens is, as your soul or the nation's soul is in the backseat of that car, the drivers change. Yeah? Everyone has to get a ride in everyone else's car, whether they like the car or not, the owner of the car or not, because the planets have relationships with each other. Yeah. So if we go back to this sequence here, this is the Rahu Dasha. Yeah. 18-year Dasha, and everyone has to have a drive of the car. Yeah. So then it starts off, and then Jupiter has a drive, then Saturn has a drive, then Mercury has a drive, and then K2 has to drive, and then it will go Venus, then it will go Sun, then it will go Moon, then it will go Mars, and then the dasha will end, and then it will go into Jupiter, and so on and so forth. So very soon, K2 is going to start driving the car. And do you remember I called K2 snip, snip? And as you guys know, I've been warning everyone now for months, for a long time. You know, I've got the receipts on this, guys. And I've been saying for ages, watch out for this time, because I said something extreme is probably going to happen in America, particularly connected with the economy. Do you remember me talking about that? And I said this could be when the AI bubble bursts. Well, that's not burst yet, but it's teetering along. But I said something extreme will happen. And I said the energy of it will start at the back end of November, but definitely from December. And then January, February, March, what happened? January, Maduro was stolen from Venezuela. Yeah, the energy's starting to build. Look, all the crazy. Then he's threatening to invade Greenland. Yeah, Duck L'Orange I'm talking about. Yeah, that's caused a diplomatic furore. Yeah, on and on and on, ratcheting up, ratcheting up. Now look, it's gone and invaded Iran at the behest of Netanyahu, and the whole world is on the cusp of what? Financial, you know what, and goodness knows what else, but particularly for what? America. Yeah, because K2 is snip, snip. That's what I call K2. You know that. Rahu I call gobble, gobble, because he's greedy. The shadow of Rahu is greed, yeah, of all kinds, and shortcuts and chicanery and all sorts of things. But Rahu can be wonderful as well when you use your Rahu well. But K2 is snip, snip. K2 is the separating force. K2 is the moksha karka. Moksha karka means liberation from this world. But that can mean many different things. But one of the main ways that K2 delivers moksha is by separating things from other things, usually of a material nature, because he is a very spiritual planet. But that separation from those material things can be very painful. And let me tell you, K2 can be cray cray. Yeah. Rahu is one thing, K2 is another. K2 can be a very intense and psychotic energy if a person is manifesting, or a nation is manifesting that in the shadow form. They also say when a person or a nation is in a Rahu Dasha, they do not heed good advice. Now, of course, present company excluded, this does not apply to you guys. Obviously, you're all as just exasperated as everyone else is, yeah? But think of all the people that did not heed the good advice and vote for the nice black lady, yeah? Which wasn't so long ago. Now look. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, but I have seen people who are just absolutely calling out the MAGA crowd and just being like, we will never, ever forgive you, of all stripes. and colors. But a lot of white folk as well are and they're calling out their families and their friends, and they're just like, I will never, ever, ever forgive you for what you've done, particularly if you voted for him 3 times. But here we are. So, as you guys know, so as I'm making this video, it is currently in the UK. It's the 21st of March, 2026. And what I've been telling everyone, I said that K2 will start driving the car officially from the 26th of March, 2026. Right. Today's Friday. That's next week. So something is coming to a peak. And you guys would have also seen where in my videos I said Trump is going to have to make some kind of announcement. He's going to have to kind of back down. He's going to have to pull out in some kind of way, trying not to lose face. Because the economic consequences of what is happening, let alone the loss of life and the sheer diabolical BS of it all, is exasperating everyone. Everyone is fed up. And most of the people that are MAGA are now fed up. Of course, the Democrats and independents have been exasperated since the get-go. Yeah, since 2016, basically. But, you know, everyone is at their different layers of development. And unfortunately, it just take some people a lot longer to wake up, unfortunately, because their vibration in many ways is so dense that it just bounces off. Yeah, just bounces off. Or they've got such prejudice or hate or whatever negative emotion it is, whatever is bringing them down, their vibration down to that low level of consciousness. Yeah, they have to feel things literally. Some people have to be slapped with the brick and have several teeth knocked out before they, oh my God, maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. And I know that is frustrating, and many of you will have family members that are like that. Even with all of this diabolical stuff, there will still be friends and family that some of you may know that will not budge. And like I said, they are beyond help. Beyond. But the thing is, now things are getting really serious. And do you remember I said with Duck L'Orange, I said they will keep him as long as they keep making money off him. But very few people, only a very, very few people can actually make money out of this. Yeah, the military industrial complex and all of the fraudulent a-holes in there. Yeah, who are egging for this, like the Lindsey Grahams and all of that stuff. Yeah, pushing him. Yeah, and then Netanyahu doing his bits and bobs. Oh, and by the way, he showed up in a conference. Now, on the Wednesday show, you guys will remember this. And I think on the Wednesday show, do you remember we pulled cards and see if he was alive or not? And his cards were disastrous. And do you remember I said, look, we don't want to get too carried away. I said, look, if he shows up, I said, I want to see him at a conference facing the press. Yeah, there in front of the press. And if he turns up and he's alive, then fine. I'll eat the humble pie on that one. Yeah. So he's done this press conference. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it. Now, look, I'm not someone who is like conspiracy theory for conspiracy theory's sake. Yeah. And in fact, when I heard a lot of the outlandish stuff that was allegedly kind of going on with all Pizzagate and all of this kind of stuff, I was like, oh, God, pile of bullshit. I'm not going to be listening to any of that. And then, of course, the Epstein files came out. Yeah. And then, wow. Yeah. Not for Hillary, of course, but just all the other, all of the other absolute bonkers stuff that has been going on since. So I was like, oh, okay. He's shown up. Let's take a look. I'm glad to see that. And then Amberwood said, hello, Hoagie, I can hear you. I'm sorry you're feeling icky. No, I'm feeling very good, actually. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And we're going to watch the conference that Netanyahu gave. And I want to run this past you guys, and I want you to see it with your own eyes. And I want you to let me know your thoughts on this clip. And then I'm going to show you as well what people are saying in the comments. And I want you to look at it. For me, on first impression, it seems okay. But let's see what you think. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to pull cards again. And then I'm going to get into some of your questions. And then we're going to also take a look at Duck Ranch. There's not many questions this evening because I advertised very late and I had friends over. I was doing readings and all that stuff. So I advertised very, very late. Normally I advertise like 12 hours before, 20 or 24 hours before. So look, I want your opinion on this. Yeah. So I'm going to share screen. I want to see what you guys think. Let's go here. I think it's this one. All right. So I'm going to rewind the tape a little bit.
The best gift I ever gave was for his feet. He used to.
Oh, actually, I need to make sure. One second. Let me let that ad play. 1 minute. Let me just turn this down. I'm going to let this ad play.
The first one out the door. Lately, he spends every night in the recliner with his feet up.
All right. Assassinated. Was here. I'm going to rewind a bit. Oh, come on. Don't mess around. And, oh. All right, I'm going to leave that there. And then I need to make sure I'm going to do the stop share because I need to make sure that I play that I've got the sound tab activated. I've got my mouse keeps playing up. Share screen. Yes, the sound is on. All right. Now I'm going to play the sound. And he sounds great. But I want you to focus on his head. I want you to look at his tie. I want you to also look at his badge here, which should be depicting Israel, but seems to be out of focus. Yeah. So why am I saying that? You'll notice, look, do you notice here how the flags here are very crisp and very sharp? Yeah. They are in focus, but they are technically, they should be behind Bibi. Yeah, because he's standing at the lectern. And you'll notice they're supposed to be flags, but you notice that there's a kind of a flat quality to them. And there doesn't seem to be any shade or modulation in their color because obviously a flag is normally fabric. So it will have slight dips and variations. But you'll just notice here that it looks like they are perfectly mirroring each other with the same kind of curve going up here. So I'm not sure about that. If the flags are in focus and they are behind Bibi, then his badge should be in focus. And you can see it is not. But I'm going to play and watch the movement of his head. And then in this press conference, you'll notice that when the person asks questions, firstly, sometimes their sound is just stopped. But you'll notice they cut away rather than panning the camera. And you'll see what I mean. Anyway, let me just press play and see what you think.
Publicly,
oh, I meant,
the world owes a debt of deep indebtedness to President Trump for leading this effort to safeguard our future.
Thank
Questions?
you. We'll now take a few questions. The first question is from Zach Anders from Newsmax.
Mr. Prime Minister, Zach Anders, Newsmax.
Where's the sound? Why can't we hear the question? Silence. Yeah, silence. So I have to fast forward a little bit because then we'll hear the response.
Keep chanting for him in the
Here we go.
streets.
Well, I'm not going to say who specifically is going to be there, but I think he's been a force for good. He's been trying to get the people to unite for a transitional government, a democratic transitional government, or a moderate transitional government. I hope that it comes to being. I think it's too early to.
Right. Now you're going to see another.
This is a natural mineral salt that is so effective at removing the bacteria that grows in our armpit.
Even when things are uncomfortable.
Now he's going to take another question. Look at the room behind him. And then as the questions go along, the background behind the journalist keeps changing. So
that's what you have to do. And you don't always see the danger in time.
All right, let me press play.
I-24 News.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Gary Azriel, I-24 News. President Trump said today he did not like the Israeli strike on the Iranian gas fields. My question to you, was the president aware of Israel striking that gas field? Did you approve it? And please, if you may, do you see any signs that the Iranian regime is collapsing? And what assurances do you give the Israeli public that if it does stand on its feet, we will not see another wave of a war with Iran in maybe 5 or 10 years?
Well, I'll say two things. Fact number one, Israel acted alone against the Slawiya gas compound.
Acted alone.
Two, President Trump asked us to hold off on future attacks, and we're holding out. What do we see? What happens if are there any signs that the Iranian...
So there's that. And then I think he goes on to say the Iranian regime, they don't think it's... And then look, 1 second. Maybe I'm reading into this too much, but look at the next question that comes in and look at the background.
That's what Israel is doing now with the United States. And I'm very proud of the fact.
News. Prime Minister, given the escalation of attacks on US allies across the Gulf.
Where is this man asking his question from? Do you see the background has completely changed? You've got this kind of thing. It's all black. It is, you got this kind of prod. It doesn't look like it's even in the same room. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Let me know your thoughts. And I want to show you something as well. And is it here? I want you to look, focus here on Netanyahu's collar and the tie and the hair. There are times when his hair looks more textured and other times where it doesn't. And look at this collar here. It should move up and down, and you'll notice that it just stays still. 1 second.
Understood that. He explained it to me. I didn't explain it to him. And I think that our partnership is the only way to avoid this catastrophic development. The loss of servicemen is painful. Early on in my military service, a fellow soldier died in my arms. I lost a brother who fought terrorists, led the historic Entebbe rescue. The cost to bereaved families is enormous, and I sympathize.
It is, but you still go in there, aren't you?
Condolences of the people of Israel to these families and to the American people. Freedom is precious.
I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts. I'll show you what they're saying in the comments. Dude, this still looks like AI to me. WTF. The fact that there are 5 videos of him saying, look, I'm alive is suspicious enough already. Why is it on mute? Yeah. Lego should sue Netanyahu for stealing their hairstyle. Sky News just hide the main scene of sleeves. And then it says here, it's fake. Why is screen separated? Why isn't conference with them together? I can't see him with reporters. It's 2 split screens. It's suspicious. Yeah. I want to show you something else. I'm going to stop share there. And I know I'm banging on about this, but I want to show you what I did was to kind of substantiate my suspicions, as it were. Yeah. My suspicions, as it were. I'm going to show you, oh, there's 999 of you here. I'm going to show you what a press conference usually looks like. So there we saw that rather stiff, stilted conference where the camera was just cutting away to these journalists and the backgrounds were changing each time. Yeah, you could see, particularly when the British journalist was asking his question, completely different background. It looked like he was in a completely different room. Now, this is how conferences should look. So what I did was I went to last year and I went to see when Netanyahu was last in a public conference. And in this one, he happens to be with Donald Trump. I want you to assess the look of this conference and the sound and the colors of this conference and the journalists in the room, and tell me what you think and contrast it with what I've just shown you. All right, here we go. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm like, and then I'm going to pull some cards again. So here's a conference from, there's Duck Larange, here's Bibi. Yeah. Do you see straight away? Look at the perspective of the conference. You can see the backs of pressers' heads. The room is full and it's a pan shot. Yeah. I'm going to press play. Now, did you see the shadows cast on the flags? Now, look, do you see here? Do you notice here how the flags here, these are real flags. Do you see here how there is shadowing here? Yeah, shadowing, because fabric doesn't just go like that and be exact. There will be inaccuracies. Yeah, do you see here this like warping because of the folds, the creasing in the flags? Here, do you see the flags behind? There are these depressions, stipulation, little dimples. And you see here, there's little dimples here. When we go back to those flags behind Netanyahu, you'll see how flat they are. There's no texture to them at all. Do you notice here how the room, here's Netanyahu, here's Trump. Here you can see the press clearly. You can hear microphones. Now listen to this. Obviously, we have to listen to Duck Larange, but I'm trying to make a point. Here we go.
Thank you very much.
Do you hear the little static sounds? The little rustling?
That's a lot of press. Congratulations. You bring them out. You really bring them out. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back to the White House. It's a wonderful feeling and a wonderful
see the movement?
event. We had fantastic talks.
The
and
rustling?
thank you very much with your staff. He's the first foreign head of state to visit during our administration. And
boring stuff. Now let's see.
Bibi, I want to say it's an honor to have you, Mike, for working so well with us. Thank you.
Applause. Do you see there's, let's see, I want to hear Netanyahu talking. God, here we are. Maybe he's going to be talking now.
Team's capacity to fund terror.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He does talk a lot, doesn't he? Let's get here. Let's just see when actually Bibi is going to be talking. Maybe this is it.
Walking out of it, that's exactly what you did. And I think it speaks loudly for just common sense, just looking at things and seeing them as they are. And of course, you also brokered.
Now, did you see that? Again, did you see the gesticulation? Yeah, did you see? There were informal movements. Yeah, he was speaking with emphasis, a bit of animation, passion. Then he puts his hands down. Have you noticed in this press thing, the hands are very much down? Yeah, so I'm just going to show you that again, just so you can see for yourself what I would infer as natural movement.
To your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before. I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
All right, applause. Yeah.
And that's why the people of Israel have such enormous respect for you. In your first term, you recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
Anyway, you can
moved
see
the
my
American
point.
Embassy there. You recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You withdrew from the.
Anyway, I don't want to hear any more of these two, either of these two men speaking. So just to contrast, I'm just going to go back one more time, and I want to contrast, contrast that very kind of animated and authentic and real conference, in my opinion, with what I just showed you one last time, so we can go backwards and forwards. Forgive me if you're thinking I'm kind of like, Hoagie, drop this, but I am not convinced. Let me just put it this way. So if we go back there, do you see? Flat. There's no texturing in those flags. The badge is out of focus. Yes, in the previous conference, when he was much further away, the badge was out of focus. But how comes the flags here are in such sharp focus, but his little badge isn't? The hair. What's going on with the hair here? Where's the texturing? There should be texturing within here. Do you see how the hairline is blurred? Yeah. It just doesn't quite fit. Anyway, I think I've made my point. I'm going to stop there because I don't want the whole thing just to be the show on that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me scroll down and see what people think. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm maybe reading too much into it, or do you feel like it's suspicious as well? I feel like the one with Donald Trump, that was a genuine, organic conference. There was ad-libbing. Yeah, there was gesticulation, informal movements, the body turning, this, that, and the other. Netanyahu, when he talks quite a lot with his hands. Did you notice in that press conference, the hands were very much down. It was very stayed. The flags, did you notice there wasn't any creasing in the flags? Also as well, felt like the head looked a little bit floaty, and the collar here just stayed up like this. Even when he turned his head, the collar, it wouldn't do that. First of all, it would actually be down. So anyway, someone's saying here, Hoagie is right. Thank you. And then someone's saying tinfoil hat time. Yeah, it could be that as well. And then put here, person saying the new vid is sus. I'm not. If it's a fake, it's a very good one, but it just doesn't feel. And then, yep, LifeSpark saying, yep, AI created. Raymond saying AI, absolute insanity. And then here someone says, IB, if you look at the photo like scrying into a mirror, it's easy to see the dimensions and depths, and perception is off. Yeah, and that's why I contrasted what we were shown as Bibi now, and then Bibi in 2025 with a bona fide genuine conference, and you can't say the two are the same. It's that modern one is flat, dull, kind of lifeless, staid. The body language, nah. Yeah. Tina saying even natural flow, and then truth be told, agreed, suspicious. And then someone says the Bibi is swilling martinis with Jeffrey and Elaine as they prepare to vacay at Trump Gaza. Well, Ghislaine is, I think you meant to say Ghislaine. Ghislaine isn't even in prison, by the way. Yeah. And then someone says Sylvia is saying it's suspicious. You're correct. It's AI. And then man says Nettie's son was absent from social media long enough to sit Shiva when a Jewish relative dies. Right. Because you're supposed to go through it. You have, like that person says, absent from social media long enough to sit Shiva when a Jewish relative dies. Yeah. And then look, Jezebel saying certainly AI. They used clip art on flags. Yeah. There's certain things AI cannot do. It cannot replicate the subtlety of the foldings of a flag. It can't recreate the subtleties and the textures. And do you see how they're just there, perfectly still, nothing? And then Bibi's hands are just like this because I think they know they messed up last time. I'm just, yeah. And then someone says here, Nas says, laughing hysterically that the world believes that they three are dead. And then Jeanette said, I agree with you. And then there's Mary saying the voice of Bibi is totally different in the second video. They can do voices pretty good. And then robotic and flags are showing exactly like a duplicate. Yeah, duplicate with patterns. Yeah. And then purple says, yep, his hands were completely still. It's a big tail. Yeah, because it's like when we talk with our hands, AI can't recreate that. And because the hands are our instinctive responses to our emotions, thoughts, feelings, we gesticulate. We can see really, Bibi is actually really quite a passionate communicator. Like he uses his body a lot as well as his voice, and his voice modulates up and down. So guys, yeah, I know some people look, I'm not trying to force anyone's opinion. Yeah, force my opinion on anyone. That's why I wanted to show you the clips, but a lot of people seem to be agreeing. Like, yeah, Joseph saying it's AI. Anyway, so, and then someone here, KW Philly saying, Hoagie, your observation is spot on. It's just this, you know, because I've got an arts background. I'm not saying other people haven't recognized it. Everyone who saw that clip were also cussing it out as well. But because I've done a lot of things with art and film, movies, been on a lot of sets and stuff, I got a pretty good idea of how the camera works. And it's subtle, but nah, it's off. And the fact that they kept cutting away and they were not showing the journalists in the room with Bibi and them like this, like how that press conference was with Trump. That's how a press conference is supposed to look. Anyway, let's pull some cards. Let's pull some cards. And I'm going to ask the question again, which will be my third time this time. Oh, thank you. There's 1,105 of you. And I'm going to ask the question again. And remember, someone else said in the comments as well that the sun was away long enough from social media to observe, yeah, the respect that you do for a dead relative, yeah? Because remember, he didn't do any posting, nothing. So, let's just see. What's going on with Bibi? Is Bibi still with us, or if is he gone? Let's see. Especially if certain cards come back. Especially if we get like the Death card, Four of Swords, or Tower, which would suggest the explosion. Let's just see what's going on with Bibi, and then we'll move on. Bit of a different show today, and I'm going to read out the couple of questions that I got. All right, what's going on, Bibi? What's that? This one. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Yeah, this seems to be. They have to keep the show on the road, guys. They have to keep the show on the road. What are they in two minds about? Oh, yeah, here we go. Right. Here we go. For entertainment purposes only. For entertainment purposes only. This is my interpretation of the cards. They got to keep the show on the road. Now, what I want you to think about, what are the consequences? So I've made my arguments. Think of the consequences if Bibi is no more. Think of the consequences of what that would mean for this war against Iran, for Israel and the United States. Just think of that. There's a lot at stake. If we look here, we've got the Knight of Wands, yeah, rearing up. This is the card of passion. This is a card of action. Obviously, the rumors a bit of his demise have been going for quite a while now, and of course, Iran has claimed that they either killed Netanyahu or severely injured him. So to counter that, there's obviously had to do these videos, and you saw that dodgy one, which was almost certainly AI, where he was sipping that cup of coffee and nothing happened, and there was all sorts of stuff. And the till, remember, said the till said 2024. Yeah. So here, this is them trying to think like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Yeah. What are we going to do? We've got to do something. Yeah. This is the card of impulse, action. Here. We also have the Chariot here, which is driving forward with determination, gusto, willpower. Yeah, they have to keep this going. Whatever people believe or not, obviously, the vast majority of you agree with me in the comments. But let's just say, if he's gone, they have to keep this going. Do you see? There's no option, because if Bibi is gone and the whole world finds out Bibi is gone, then the war is over and America has already lost. We know America's already lost already. Remember, I was saying from day 3 or 4 into the war, I said, it's over. They've lost. Yeah. Once Iran started attacking the oil fields and all of that kind of stuff. So this is moving forward with force. Yeah. They have to try and keep it going. If we look here, we get the Hierophant. This is talking about norms, the established order. This is also pontification, dictating. So this is in a sense of they have to try and keep the norms together also as well. And they have to keep projecting this as some kind of like holy war, as a just war, justified. Yeah, they have to, try and maintain the moral higher ground. If we look here, we get the Knight of Cups. Now, this is the card that can talk about, this can be also known as the false knight. It's the card of diplomacy, card of messaging. Yeah, so they've got to keep having the messages come out. However, if we look here, there's a quandary. Yeah, the Two of Swords. They're not sure what to do. They're not sure how to keep carrying on, because if he is gone, then they really are in trouble. Now, the next 3 cards for me are dead giveaway. I pulled some clarifiers here on what are they not sure about, what it is that they're trying to do. The Magician. You guys will know the Magician is about what? Magic, sophistry, manipulation. The Magician has the ability to make the unreal appear real. AI is a form of magic. Yeah, it's a technical magic. And remember when I was doing the video on the coffee cup, and Grok said, nah, this is a deep fake, and they are using a type of AI that's not available to the public yet. I'm sure Grok has been lobotomized again by Elon Musk for Grok saying that. Here, card of manipulation, trying to manipulate something. If we look here, we have got the Queen of Wands, and this is the card very much of bringing people together. It's like a collegiate card. It's almost like trying to create a press conference, yeah, getting everyone together. So when I contrasted that the video with Trump and Bibi together, that would be the energy of Queen of Wands. Yeah, everyone was gathered together to have the salon, have the exchange happening. But there's a problem, because a certain card has come back. And you know, when I say when cards return, that is Spirit's way of underlining something, emphasizing something. And for me, there is a certain card that represents death more than the death card itself. And it's this one. Yeah. 4 of Swords. Here, in the positive sense, when a person is living and breathing, this can talk about convalescing. Yeah, this can talk about taking a break from it all or being wounded in battle. So for me, the most positive connotation of this, if Bibi is still alive, is that he could be in a coma. Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I think when you put it together, and particularly if the son is posting social media again, now I've not been able to verify that for myself, but he's obviously gone through what would be considered a grieving period. But for me, this card is the card of actually being dead. Why? Because it's a bloody mausoleum. He's dead. The stained glass window is coming through, and that's the question that we're asking about, and it has come back. Each time that I've read on Netanyahu, that card has come up. When I did my Wednesday show, he had the 10 of Swords in the back. Other people have been telling me as well that they've been getting the same. They've been doing their pendulum. They've been doing the cards as well, and they've been getting the same. So look, I'm not going to force it down people's throats. You know, we all have our opinions, isn't it? Everyone has their right to make up their opinion of whether or not they agree or not. But for me, I think he's gone. They cannot admit it. If they were to admit it, it would be catastrophic for the whole Zionist project. Catastrophic. So in this day and age, I would try, you know, if you're casting a narrative for entertainment purposes only, you got to kind of ride it out. Anyway, I think I've made my point. Let's, this has come in from Lynn Feld. She says, please, as a US citizen, let us know what we can do to stop this madman. Now he is sending warships and more troops to Iran. We need to stop him now. I'm at a total loss. Thank you for your insight. So let's also as well, let's bring you guys in a little bit. And then someone says here, Kobe, people still responding. It's obviously fake. Good eye. Now move on, please. Yeah. Yeah, I am. French style. Yes, the flags look like a photo. Exactly. And then Songshare says the people asking questions being in separate frames is weird. Yeah, they're even in different rooms. Yeah. Exactly. And then someone says, Shirley says they are keeping the evil ones alive with AI. Yeah. Exactly. And then someone says the flags were still, but the back curtain was moving. Yeah. Apparently AI struggles. It just cannot deal with those kind of subtleties. So guys, I think it's over for Bibi. Anyway, so what to do? I've got some ideas, but let's see what the cards say. All right. What can US citizens do? I've got some ideas, but I want to see what the cards have to say. All right, this is really interesting. Okay. First of all, we get the Magician card come out. Let me sip a little bit of water. So what the positive of this card is, this talks about taking matters into your own hands. So when we're reading on politics and stuff, of course, it can be the shadow of politics or manipulations and stuff like this. But the question was, what can Americans do? So here, this is the Magician is very much a card of manifestation. The shadow can be manipulation, but if you think about it, it's also about using all the resources that you can. So what this is saying to me is that Americans, you have to be very resourceful. Yeah, you're going to have to individually and collectively take matters into your own hands, because obviously the law and all of these people, it ain't a working. Yeah, because it's compromised. And if that video is AI, which I think it is, it shows you what lengths they're prepared to go to, even when a person's dead. Yeah. Anyway, if we look here in the next position, we have the Queen of Swords. This is the card of being astute, being clinical. This, I also associate the King and Queen of Swords with accounting, yeah, money, finance. So this is what you can do with your dollars, yeah, what you can do with your dollars, being sharp, being astute. The only thing these people respect and love is money. Yeah, we need to remember that. Wow, there's 1,195 of you here with me now. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. And please be sure to like and subscribe and share and hype and press the bell notification so you know when my next videos are up. If we look here, look, Three of Wands. As you know, I associate the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands with what? Internationalism, imports and exports. This is very much, in a sense, kind of waiting for the ship to come in. But also as well, this is kind of like, I think part of the answers for Americans is to look outwards and to see what other countries have done to get rid of people that they don't like. Well, you would have seen, I think it was last year, do you remember in South Korea? You had the president who tried to do a little bit of a coup and stay on. Everyone rose up, turfed the guy out. That was it. Prison. He's now locked up. Everyone was like, no thing way are we having this. And the people of South Korea all came together as one and they just threw him out. He tried to get the military on his side. The military refused. Yeah, that guy is now doing hard time. I think he just managed to escape the death penalty, something like that. So that is that kind of energy, yeah, coming together and using that energy. However, if we look here, we've got the Hanged Man. So again, it's like what we were saying before in my other shows. You know, a lot of American feels stuck, hamstrung. Yeah, it's very stressful. It's very difficult. There's a huge cost of living just to getting by the every day. Just trying to live one's life. Yeah, a lot of Americans are feeling stuck, but they are getting a different perspective. Yeah, and then here we get the Queen of Wands again, which, like I said, is the card of what? Coming together. Yeah, being collegiate. So the way to get out of this is that Americans have to come together and use every single tool you have in the box to overthrow this regime for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Let's see. And then someone says, so they want AI life, even if not dead. Yeah. Let's just see and check my rods. Here we are. I checked my, Sammy says, I checked my rods and Bibi does not exist. Not dead, not alive. There's no Bibi. Wow. And then has anyone asked Grok's opinion on Bibi's latest clip? I'm not sure. They probably lobotomized Grok again, specifically for that. And then Naz says, yes, until we see a live reporter interact with him, then just would not believe any of the Pixel vids. Yeah, I want to see a proper press conference like what we saw with Trump and Bibi together. That was a real press conference. It had the dynamics, the informality, the rufflings of papers, speech, people taking photographs. Yeah, that was a real press conference, not this kind of flags not moving, no wrinkles or creases, cutting to different shots of journalists, which were in different rooms. I mean, anyway. Let's move on to the next question. So this is coming from SW4. Please read on Larry and David Ellison and their big media hostile takeover for Warner Brothers. Family is big supporter of Tony Blair and Israel. I have never paid attention to him until the recent big news media takeovers. What is really weird is that was his birth. There was never a father's name listed on his birth certificate. Interesting. He was adopted and raised by his birth mother's maternal aunt. Also, his current wife seems to be another Wendy Deng. This person is saying nothing known about her family except that she came from Shenyang, Liaoning, which is suspected a big training ground for honeypots, this person says. Some women born there are said to be descendants of the previous Qing Manchurian dynasty. Ooh, interesting. So let's just read on that. What's going on with Larry Ellison? Larry and David Ellison. Oh, her literally just buying up absolutely bloody everything right now. I'm going to do a quick read and then get more of you guys' comments in. Let's just see here. Let's go here. And then, yeah, Connie's saying, yeah, since COVID, it's been hard to get by for most people. Yeah. And then Innocent Potato said, interesting how my phone begins buffering when Hogarth talks about Bibi, if he's dead or alive. Yeah. You know, you got these people. They try their rubbish, but nah, not getting through my protection. Anyway, let me hold on to my little bit of obsidian. Let's see here. And then someone's saying here, Earth Muffin saying, bring on the bubbly. Yeah. Oh my God. Casey says, oh, my sister has a picture of her and David Ellison at his house when she was in her 20s. She showed me last week. Oh God. Oh, that's a bit spooky, that, isn't it? All right, let's have a read on the Ellison, Larry and David Ellison. Yep, who are now being allowed to take over all the media. Yeah. And does he isn't he buying we should just double check. Let me just pull the cards and then I'll flip them over. But let's just fact check ourselves to make sure, to see what he's in charge of. And then I'll read the outcome of his cards. What's going on with Larry Ellison? Larry Ellison. And let me just have a quick look. Let me just put here, Larry Ellison, media, purchase ownership. Wow. All right, so here we are. Oh, what's going on here? All right, I'm just going to share my screen with you just so we can back ourselves up a little bit with some sources. So share screen. So here, it always does the AI overview. Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, has rapidly become a major US media tycoon, primarily financing his son, David Ellison's firm, Skydance Media, to acquire Paramount Global in 2025. Through this deal, the Ellisons now control CBS, Paramount Pictures, and cable networks like MTV. They are actively pursuing a merger with Warner Brothers Discovery to acquire CNN and HBO. This is ridiculous that so much is being given to these guys. Key aspects: a Paramount Global acquisition, David Ellison, Skydance Media, Paramount, assets controlled, brought 28 CBS division stations. Wow. 28 CBS television stations, CBS News, Paramount Pictures, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and BET under their control. Warner Brothers Discovery bid. The Ellisons are in bidding battle to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, which would add CNN, HBO, and Warner Brothers. How is this acceptable? pitches to their portfolio. TikTok involvement. Larry Ellison is part of an investor group seeking to control TikTok's US operations. They are already controlled, by the way. Industry impact. This consolidation represents a shift of tech wealth into traditional media with potential to create one of the largest media companies in the US, or shall we say, largest control of media in US history. Let's see what cards he's got. This is going to be interesting. All right. First of all, we see there's some kerfuffle, disagreement here. This could be people trying to kind of fight back. If we look here, though, something's been stabbed in the back. Something's been trying to be ended. This is probably the free press. If we look here, we've got the 10 of Pentacles, which is about what? Building a legacy, particularly a family legacy. So we can see that already. This is them wanting to control all of the media. Just in case we weren't sure, we've got the 6 of Cups here. That was the 10 of Pentacles for those that are listening. We got the 6 of Cups here, which is about family. It's about nostalgia, but this is also my card for the Epstein files. And then if we look here, we get the Tower, shooting through. So at some point, there's going to be a breaking point, a time of reckoning where I just don't think people are going to accept it anymore. Like I said, guys, one of the most important things you can do is vote with your pocketbook. If you can manage it, if you can bear it, unsubscribe from any of these people that you don't like. Yeah, it's the only thing that they listen to. Let's just do a quick pull for Duck Larange and see how he's feeling. And I've noticed a change in his body language. I mean, we know he's a nutbag, but he's been looking a lot more relaxed in the last week or so, last 5 days or so. And I think that's because a certain monkey's off his back. Because if his jailer is dead, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, then he's probably, even though Iran is a disaster, he's probably feeling better about other stuff. So Duck Larange. How's Duck Larange feeling? How does he feel about the Bibi situation? Is he remorseful? Or is he maybe happy? Let's see. And particularly if we get the High Priestess showing up, that shows secret plans and machinations, yeah? So let's take a look. You will not believe the first card. Right. So I was asking, how does Duck Larange feel about Bibi if Bibi is dead? Look at the first card. Death card. Do you see where this is going? So what this says to me is a certain Duck Larange probably knows the truth. And do you remember when Scott Bessent was called out of that press meeting and they said, the president wants to talk with you, blah, blah, blah. And he came back and he was like a sheep. Yeah. Try not to give something away. Look at this. And there's 1,200 of you in the room now. Thank you so much. Just saying, that's the cards. If we look here, we got the Queen of Swords, which again is, my card of what? Money, finance, trying to figure stuff out, putting plans together, So, they're just like, right, okay, we need to just try and figure this out. If we look here, we get the Ace of Wands. This is the card of what? Initiation, new projects, bringing in new things. So in a way, it's almost like Duck Larange is feeling like he's got a bit of lease of life. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing because it's so dreadful, the whole situation. But as you know, when I just psychically tune in, he's looking like someone who has a monkey off his back. Yeah, he's probably feeling like, I've got a bit of agency. Yeah. Anyway, there are still, if we look here, so that was the Ace of Wands, and this is the Nine of Swords. So he's still worried primarily about, this is primarily about the Iran war, yeah? Because it's proving to be a nightmare, especially financially. The price of oil is zooming up. Let me tell you, if it gets above $150, see, this is eye-watering stuff. And look, I don't see this war going deep into April. I don't. I think the financial cost is too high. Trump is going to have people screaming at him down the phone. And if Bibi's gone, then he can try and make good. Yeah. Anyway, so if we look here, look at the outcome card. Yeah. Happy families, all is well. You heard me say before, I think Trump at some point is going to make an announcement saying that the war is over, that it's mission accomplished, even though everyone knows it's a load of rubbish, and he's going to try and paint a sunny picture. Yeah, like this. Yeah, the happy family. War? What war? Oh, that old thing. Well, you know, what else is he going to do? Yeah, because the only option is to escalate. What's he going to do? Drop a nuke? Is that what he's going to do? Is that going to solve all the problems? No, it will not. The second the USA goes in that direction, that is over of the over. What will happen then is that America will lose its global reserve currency status in a hot minute, like that. No one is going to accept that. So I feel his option is this. He's got to play the happy family card in some way. It's not going to be an easy move, but allegedly, and for entertainment purposes, if Bibi is truly gone, then he's got a bit of breathing room, yeah? And then maybe he can come up with some other idea, or they can come up with some other idea, although it's still a nightmare, yeah? But in the end, my instinct is, at least I hope it's not wishful thinking on my part, but I think he's going to make some kind of announcement and say, we're scaling things down. We're winding down the war. All these people care about is money. Anyway, I think I've said it. I think I've said enough. And let's just read a few more of your comments. He could nuke Incan. He could nuke if he doesn't have any rational sense. It's all impulse. The question will the military obey? That's a good one. Jacqueline is saying he will say that they did what they achieved, what they wanted to, but never actually say what that was. Yeah. I really, especially with that kind of like 10 of cups. Yeah, that 10 of cups card, particularly for me in politics, it's like the card of like, it's too good to be true, but how else is he going to get out of this? He's got to say, oh, mission accomplished, everyone. It only cost us 400 billion or whatever. Evelyn said his dementia is progressing faster and faster. Yes, it is. And do you remember how I said as well, when Jupiter becomes exalted on the 1st of June, but I said, as it goes through, especially as we go through April, May, June, it's going to get more and more hot seat, yeah, for Doc Larange as the financial consequences of this play in. However, if he's able to come up with some BS and withdraw, then that will minimize the damage, and then maybe it could be a little bit more positive, but we'll have to see. And then it's that the Pimda says, if they don't tell the people, they won't know. And then Raymond said, there is nothing more confining than the prison we don't know we're in. Shakespeare. Yeah, absolutely. And then someone was saying here, fake 100%. Yep, absolutely. And then someone says here, JP says, I don't see it. His ego is too big. Why would he be sending thousands of Marines that way? I don't see him backing down. Well, if we think of it, if before this war started, Bibi absolutely was alive. Yeah. Depending on what people think, if he's dead, alive or not. But let's just assume that he is no more. Yeah. Based on that videos that you've seen my videos, I've made my arguments. Many of you agree. So let's just say he's not here, yeah, which is what many other people are picking up. That fundamentally changes the calculus, because what it means is Trump's jailer is dead. The main person who's been having the chokehold on Duck L'Orange will be gone. And you see, when I said, how is Trump feeling? You saw that death card come up, and it shows the king being trampled underneath. So it doesn't mean that he's completely scot-free, but in terms of the yoke that Netanyahu has been using on him, yeah, controlling him, saying, look, showing him the videos of Trump doing deplorable things. If he's gone, then he can begin to start trying. Well, he's not going to be thinking. They need to find some way out. The trouble is Pete Hegseth and the other people around him are absolute lunatics. Yeah, so they may try and keep escalating. But anyway, let's see here. Rainbow Clef saying Duck L'Orange has been itching to nuke something for the past 10 years. Don't put anything past him. Yeah, that's a good point. What's this? He's now deploying 4,500 Marines for ground assault on Iran. Really? That's going to be a cataclysm. That's going to be an absolute disaster. And then Cindy's saying 400 billion and upended the Middle East. And then someone's saying here, Sharon Saipi, oh, thank you, says 229 in the chat and 663 likes. So please keep this channel. Please help the channel out. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. Oh, thanks so much for saying that. And then Raymond saying Trump speaks with an ambiguous forked tongue. Yes, he does. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And then here we are. And then Purple Girl says, now as when the gas prices start to skyrocket, it takes 3 to 4 weeks for the gas and oil to make it down to the consumer. The war started 3 weeks ago exactly. So now we will see the result. Indeed. Oh, look here. And then someone's saying, he's already told us that and the world, America won the war and the war is over. We shall see. Folks, I will leave it there. Thank you so much.